Shalom from Efrat, Israel. I'm Rabbi Nathan Davidovich. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Netivot Shalom says about this week's Parsha. Now, there's a little bit of a confusion because everywhere outside of Israel, the weekly Torah reading is Shemini. In Israel, because of the way Pesach fell, the weekly Torah reading this week is Tazria-Metzorah. So I want to be talking about Tazria-Metzorah and talk about the concept of Lashon Hara. Concept of what is Lashon Hara? Lashon Hara is speaking about somebody else. Let's see what the Netivot Shalom says about it. First of all, before I get to the Netivot Shalom, in the two parshas, the second parsha is called Metzorah. Metzorah refers to a person who is translated as somebody with leprosy. It's a bad translation because it's not the case. It's not a physical disease as leprosy, but it's a skin disease that comes from spiritual sources. The word nega, which is used throughout the parsha, refers to a skin disease, various things that are seen on the skin and that are determined by the Kohen as to whether or not they make the person impure or not. And if so, if they find that he's impure, he has to be segregated, isolated for a period of a number of days, at least going through a Shabbat. The word Metzorah, which is the name of the second of the two Sedros, the Chazal tell us the word Metzorah means, it's from the word Motzei Shem Ra. Motzei Shem Ra is somebody who literally speaks bad about somebody. But Lashon Hara is more than that. So let's talk about what the Netivot Shalom says. We're using this book of Netivot Shalom, and this is the book on Vayikra, and we are starting at page Samach. And it says as follows: Dorshu Chazal, our sages have explained, Ala pasuk zos tia Torah HaMetzorah. This is the law of the Metzorah, of the person with the skin disease. Toraso shall motzi shemra. It's the Torah of somebody who says bad things. Shekol hamesaper lashon hara. Whoever says lashon hara, meaning not just bad things about somebody, but whoever speaks about somebody else. Nagayim boin alav. He can get these skin diseases. Because these skin diseases, which are spiritual diseases, are a spiritual punishment for Lashon Hara. Od Isasham, he goes on to say, Manish Tana Metzorah. He goes on and talks about the sacrifices that a person who's determined to be a Metzorah has to bring to the end of his period of uncleanliness. And he goes on and says, V'yesh levayer hatam. We have to explain the reason. Madua kol chamor isur lashon hara. Why is this prohibition of speaking lashon hara? Yoter mikol sharis torah lo sasha. Why is it more stringent than any other negative commandment in the Torah? Ad shekavo chazal, to the point that our chachomim have said, shenagoyim boim ba'avon lashon hara, that these plagues, these skin diseases come from Lashon Hara. And they say in the Gemara, Kol ha'mesaper Lashon Hara, whoever speaks Lashon Hara is ke'ilu kafar be'ikar. It's like he's denying the existence of God. So the Torah says, Ma inyan zeh? What does one have to do with the other? How is talking about somebody denying the existence of God? V'chein kol ha'mesaper Lashon Hara. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ani v'hu yecholin, ein ani v'hu yecholin lador ba'olam. I can't live in this world together with a person who speaks Lashon Hara. And the Gemara goes on to compare Lashon Hara with the three cardinal sins, says it's just as bad as murder, as immoral relations, as idol worship. How is that? So the Netivot Shalom goes on very beautifully. In the next paragraph, he says, "V'yesh lomer al pi divrei haGemara." The Gemara says, "Shamashilin misapre lashon hora." There's a comparison of somebody who speaks lashon hora lenachash, to a snake, because a snake she'enu nehena minishichoso, he doesn't benefit. The snake doesn't benefit from the bite that he's giving the person. Ela koach hara shavu dochvuhu lazik. It's only the power of evil in the snake. He wants to do damage. He wants to cause injury. Vilu chayos acheros nehenot mitrafo machmas, and also mitrufoso. When other animals, if they attack another animal for food, they're taking another animal apart, they're getting a benefit from it, but not the snake. So kacha masapri lashon hora nivdel mishare over averos. So similarly, somebody who speaks lashon hora is separated from any other transgression. Shebechal ha'averos, in every other transgression that you do, yesh le'adam ezo hana mechato. Even though you're doing something bad, you get some benefit from it. You enjoy it. You enjoy the bad thing that you're doing. But Masha'en came on Misaper Lashon Hora, Ein Lo Shomar. But somebody who's telling Lashon Hora, speaking about somebody else, there's no benefit that he gets from that. Barak Machmas Koach Hara Shabo Hario Osazo. Only because of the power of evil does somebody do this. The person who speaks Lashon Hora, the Netivot Shalom says, is just like the snake who goes about biting people, doing his wicked thing for the sole reason of hurting somebody. And that's what Lashon Hora is. And then he goes on to explain. He said a minute ago that it's like denying the existence of Hashem. So he's going to explain now. First of all, think of yourself as parents. As parents, if somebody criticizes your children, says something bad about your children, you're not going to take to that in such a positive way, right? You're going to be put off by it. Your children are your children. You love your children no matter what they do. You don't want somebody else saying, "Oh, your children did this and this bad." So here the Netivot Shalom says this. There's a reason for this. Because Bnei Yisrael, the Jewish people, are so loved that they are called children of God. God doesn't have patience for anybody who says bad things about his children. Just like a father isn't willing to listen to bad things about his son. And this is the stringency of this thing of Lashon Hora. Lo rak etzem hapagia b'chavera aydeh Lashon Hora, not only because of what you're doing to your friend, to the other person by speaking Lashon Hora, you're tarnishing their reputation. I use the example of taking a pillow full of feathers and dropping it out of a second-story window. You can't pick up all those feathers. Once it's out there, it's out there. You've ruined somebody's reputation. And you might apologize to him, but you can't really undo what you've done. But the Netivot Shalom goes beyond that. He says, it's not just that you're damaging his reputation. He says, he says, there's no way of repairing this. He says, certainly you can, so you can apologize to your friend and he will forgive you. But the main part of what you've done is against heaven, it's against Hashem. You've spoken against Hashem's children. What does Hashem want from us? Hashem wants all of Bnei Yisrael to love one another as children should. That's the only thing he asks of us, to love one another. And when he sees that we're just talking about one another, even if it's not bad, I was reminded as I was looking at this Netivot Shalom of something my mother-in-law, Joan Satz of blessed memory, said. She used to say that great people talk about things. Small people talk about other people. The transgression of Lashon Hara teaches us not to speak about other people. You can say, wait a minute, I'm saying nice things about this person. Look at what this guy did. He's really tremendous. Yeah, but if you say that, invariably there's going to be somebody in your group who's going to say, oh, yeah, but what about this? You didn't hear about that. That right away leads to Lashon Hara. So not only is Lashon Hara to be guarded against, but you have to be careful not to put a stumbling block in front of people so that they will trip. And even though your intentions are good, they'll come in and say, oh, yeah. And we've seen that so many times. All of us have seen that many, many times, right? All the time we see it. Now, he goes on. I'm going to skip a lot of what he says here. I'm going to skip to the last paragraph on Samach Aleph, next page. The last paragraph says as follows. He says he's comparing the nega, the skin disease that you get. He's saying that there is a way to repair it. There is a way to be matakein of what you've done with Lashon Hara. Lashon Hara brings a nega. But he says as follows, and this is very interesting. He says, V'hine Shabbat hi tikun l'negoyim. Shabbat, the observance of Shabbat, the making of Shabbos as it should be, is a way to remedy the negayim, the diseases that you get from Lashon Hara. Good Omar Bagdomos Tikun Zohar Kodesh. As the Holy Zohar said, he says, Man the manig b'Shabbasa is hapechle minega laoneg. He says, if you take the letters of nega, the Hebrew word nega, and turn them around, you can turn them from a nega, from a skin disease, to oneg, to a joy with Hashem, joy of Shabbat. And he says, he brings the Beis Avraham, who says, if the Kohen looks at a person who has one of these skin problems, to determine whether or not it falls within the category of a nega that makes him unclean, impure. And if he decides it does, then what does he do? He isolates him for a period of week, but over that period of week, he has to go through a Shabbat. The Shabbat is the key. He keeps him for 7 days. In that 7 days, Shabbat is included. And he says, the Netivot Shalom says as follows, V'koach HaShabbat, hi takana le'ish asher bo hanega. The power of Shabbos is a remedy for the person who has this nega. And if the Kohen sees it's not yet cured, then he puts him up for another 7 days, again to go over another Shabbos. And he asks, Madua Shabbos hi tikun l'negoyim. Why is Shabbos a remedy for these negoyim? The Inyan HaShabbos hi commandamar beini ve'bnei Yisrael os hi liolam. What do we say about Shabbos? Shabbos, God is saying, this is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. HaShabbos hi hakesher v'hayichud ben Kodesh Baruch Yisrael. Shabbos is the knot that connects Bnei Yisrael, the children of Israel, and God. And he goes on, if I can find my place. As we said before, the Knesset, the Chazal tell us that Knesset Yisrael is ben zugach. He says one person alone can't come to Shabbos. One person alone one person alone is not called Klal Yisrael, the people of Israel. People of Israel implies a unity of Israel. So with Shabbos where we're getting together with Hashem, that means if you want to be called a child of Hashem, he says, one person cannot be called a child. We're the children of Israel, meaning a unity. So it's when, what does Hashem want from us? As I said before, he says, as it says, bless us, we ask Hashem, bless us, our Father, as we are all one. He wants this unity, this oneness. He says, since Shabbos is the unity between God and the children of Israel, in order to have that unity, with Hashem, we first have to have the unity amongst us, between each of us. And he said, that's how you can change the nega to oneg, because hamanig et hashabbos, if somebody is really taking pleasure from Shabbos, hainu shemagia la'oz taneg Hashem shumikoach achdut Yisrael. This joy with Hashem comes from the power of achdut, unity of all Yisrael. B'koach hayichud shel haShabbos, matakin es hashoresh shel piru b'Yisrael, and this power of the unity of Shabbos will remedy the piru, the separation that you've had that caused this nega, that caused the skin disease because of the lashon hara. So therefore, the next page. It says the next page that Chazal said that what is wanted is the Shabbos. What is wanted b'Shabbos is b'Shabbos achim im Yehudim, to sit together with Jews, b'yachid, together, b'leil Shabbos v'sholosh sudot, the 3 meals of Shabbos. Ki hayeshiva b'tzivosu b'achdus halavavos, mamshicha hashrot hashchina, because the sitting together in unity and having one heart, as we did when we came to Har Sinai before we received the 10 Commandments, it says Vayichad Sham Neged Ha'ar. It's talking about all of Klal Yisrael, 3 million people, and it says in the singular, they camped there next to the mountain. And Rashi explains Vayichad Sham B'Lev Echad, Ish Echad. They were of one person, like one heart, one man. They were all together, unity. And that's what we need for Shabbos. And he said, through that unity, you will change the nega that you get from lashon hara to an oneg. Change the words around. And it says, through this, misrape shoresh hapirud shel hagoyim. He says the goyim come as a result of separation, and you will heal this separation. In other words, when you're talking lashon hara about somebody, you're talking about somebody, whether it's bad or good, you're separating yourself from them. You're not talking to the person, and you're causing somebody else to separate from them. It is so easy, and there was an example recently in my own life where I had heard somebody say something about somebody, and when I saw them the next time, I misjudged them because of what they said. Even though I was trying not to do that consciously, unconsciously I judged them. And that's the danger. That's the danger of it. People say things about somebody, and somebody's going to be influenced by it, misjudge them, and that's a horrible thing. So he says, what we have to do is to remember that, as Reb Meir said, after everything, we're called children of Hashem. And children have to love one another. Families have to love one another. We have to love everybody. Remember the story of Rabbi Akiva. I'm sorry, it wasn't Rabbi Akiva, it was Hillel Azaken, who said to the non-Jew who wanted to know the Torah on one foot. He says, don't do to others what you don't want them to do to you. In other words, he was encapsulating what is said in the sentence, V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Let's go into this Shabbat with the attempt to try to make our words holy. At the end of last week's Parsha in Shemini, when it talked about the non-kosher animals that we're not allowed to eat, right at the end of that whole Parsha, just before today's Parsha, this week's Parsha started in Israel, there's a sentence that's very interesting. It says, Ki ani Hashem hamala eschem eretz Mitzrayim. The reason for all these things about eating kosher food, because I am Hashem who lifted you up from the land of Egypt, Yos lachem Elohim, to be your God, V'yisem kadoshim, and you should be holy, ki kadosh ani Hashem, because kadosh ani, because I am holy. This is the only time in the Torah that this kind of language is used. Hamala eschem, I lifted you up. We just went through the Seder, and in Pesach we talked about Ki ani Hashem hotzi eschem, I brought you out. Hotziacha mi Mitzrayim, I took you out of Mitzrayim. This is the only time it's used as Hamala, I raised you up, because the whole purpose of getting us out of Mitzrayim was to raise us up to do mitzvahs, to become holy. Last week's Parsha, we talked about the holiness, deriving holiness by what you eat. In these Parshas, we talk about deriving holiness by how you speak. There's a connection between the two. So my wish to all of us is that we take this message to heart on this Shabbat, and from now on, starting from this day forward, try each day to do better. This is the days of the Sphira, where we're every day from Pesach to Shavuos, we're trying to better ourselves a little bit more each day. Let's work on that. Thank you for joining the Shir. Shabbat Shalom, and God willing, we'll see you perhaps next week.